Welcome back to the table. Today we don't have anything set up because we're going to be talking about Gen Con 2022. And yes, this is just under the wire, our most anticipated list of games that are coming.
Yeah.
And these are games, some of which we've seen, some of which I've played.
I haven't.
But I wanted to point some of these out on the ones that I've contributed here. I wanted to point out so that you don't sleep on them, because some of them are actually to buy.
Yeah, some of these are to buy, some of these are to demo, but basically this is 15 games that we think are worth looking out for at Gen Con. So if you're going to be at Gen Con, or if you're just watching from home, trying to check out coverage of certain games, these are probably the 15 games that we're most excited about. And hopefully we'll be able to cover some of these at Gen Con. We'll be able to bring some of these games home to cover after Gen Con. So you'll probably be seeing more about these games in the future. But before we get into that, I do want to say this was a really strong lineup for 2022.
I was about to say the same thing. Getting it to 15. When we say these 15, it's not like these are the 15. These are the 15 that we came up with.
Yeah.
That we're kind of particularly interested in talking about. But there are a ton of games. This is the first Gen Con in a long time. Now, of course, we have COVID to thank for that.
But even back in
some
2019,
degree.
2018.
But it's felt like it's been a while since I've looked at that list of games coming to Gen Con, be it demo or for purchase, and went, wow, there's a lot.
Yeah, and by we, when David says we, he means himself, me, and Jeremy Howard, who contributed as well. He couldn't join us today because he does live quite some time away, and he's preparing for Gen Con as well. But the whole team will be there. So if you're watching this video while you're at Gen Con, we're there. So come find us.
Look for all of our content. Like Ryan said, we're going to be on the show floor doing some pieces every once in a while throughout the day. So without any further ado, let's get to the list.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in with my first one I'm looking for. And this one is available to buy. This is First Rats. This is from Pegasus Spiel.
Heard of it.
The reason this caught my attention is because it's designed by Gili, who was part of that whole Italian design group that did some of my favorite games. This looks like a little bit maybe on the lighter side, but it looks like a lot of fun. You're basically rats trying to move across this map. So you are kind of following a path a little bit, but you're making a lot of decisions along the way as to what to do with your actions as you go, with the goal to collect a bunch of parts in order to build a rocket, because you're trying to get to the moon, which is
made of cheese.
Made of cheese, right? You're rats.
On theme.
It's an important and inexhaustible source of cheese. So you're trying to make all these decisions, and it can play quite a few players, and it just seems like it's a Euro that will probably have a lot of appeal to people that don't normally play Euro games.
That's
so
nice.
A good way to get people in. I'm really excited. I've heard good buzz about it. So I want to see
I've
the
heard
actual
some good
game.
buzz too. And do you know, and we might not know for 100% which ones are for sale, which ones
This one
are for
should
demo.
be for sale there.
I think this one is for sale.
I think so.
The first one I wanted to talk about is a game I have played, full disclosure. It's Terracotta Army, but I want to bring it up because this is also for sale, or at least as of right now it is. This is the next one from Board and Dice. I don't think this is technically their next T game, but it
just happens to start with a T.
It is a T game. They like their T games. Terracotta Army is a really puzzly Euro where you're going to be building statues, terracotta statues, these different types of soldiers that have different abilities in this sort of communal area, this place where everyone's building their statues. And the statues give you different points. You're going to be checking that every so often for points. But it also has this incredibly puzzly worker placement ring. There's these like discs that you rotate, and you take a space and you do all three things on all the discs. But of course you can rotate those discs so you can line up different actions and that synergize a little bit better together. Really interesting puzzly Euro. Also really cool components. It comes with this box that holds all the statues. And interestingly enough, every time everyone's played it with me, the statues are upside down and in the box. So you just see the bases of the statues.
Yeah.
And then you pull them out when you build them, which I think is kind of cool thematically because you're building them, right? They don't exist before you build them. So Terracotta Army, check that one out for sure.
Board and Dice is kind of on a roll.
Yes, for sure.
Why don't you do the next one too?
Yes, we have Jeremy's list here off to the side as well. So the first one he mentioned was 3,000 Scoundrels. Now, I had seen this on the BGG Gen Con list, but that's it. The one thing of note, and the only thing really I know about the game...
Well, there's not a lot about it yet.
No.
This one is not to buy, right? This is just
I can't. I think
demo.
This is just to demo, but it is from the people, Corey Konitska and the company that he's recently created that did the initiative.
Yep, Voices in My Head.
Voices in My Head. So if you know anything about those two games, you know they're very different. So I
Right.
expect this one to feel a little bit different too. But what I have looked at, it looks like it more mechanically looks like a game in the traditional sense with more things to do. I don't know if it's Euro or not, but the graphic design on it is beautiful. Have you seen the box?
No, I haven't even seen
The box is really cool.
Well, I did when I looked through but I didn't really because I wasn't sure how I felt about that one. It didn't
I wanna
quite
look
make
into
my
it for
list, but I
sure.
will probably demo it at Gen Con.
Yeah.
All right, back to me. Another one I'm really excited about is Village Rails from Osprey Games. And yes, this is a train game. As you'll see, Rails, you're connecting all of these towns in the English countryside.
Or villages.
Or villages, technically, bringing them into your network of trains, which, sounds like a light, pleasant game. You're trying to basically route build and connect these different cities. However, this is the English countryside, and these villagers that live in these villages don't necessarily want your rails to come through their cities.
I mean, that's
And so
fair.
they have a certain number of requirements that you have to meet in order to build your rails through those cities. And that might include, how many rails are coming in and out, or what your switches look like, if you have lights and stops and things like that. So you have to fulfill the requirements of each of these villages before you build into them. So I think that's a different, puzzly view on that route building game because, I've never played a route building game like this where you have to actually achieve certain requirements.
It's interesting. That's actually an interesting approach because most times you're just steamrolling across the countryside.
Yeah,
No pun
right. You
intended.
don't really consider.
But now you have to deal with the bureaucracy of okay, we have to manage with the people of this town because they're not exactly going to like it going down the middle of Main Street.
Right, it's definitely a new look at these route building or train building games. Like you said, most of them, Age of Steam is yeah, we're just plowing these trains, cutting through the mountains, cutting through the
Yeah, right.
forests, whatever. So it requires you to think about that. So that's actually available to buy. I think it should be available to buy Village Rails.
And the next one from Jeremy.
The next one from Jeremy, Oathsworn. I think if you've watched the channel and seen Jeremy talk about this game, you would know how excited he is.
He's wanting to get a hold of this for
This
a bit.
is another one of those, it's like an RPG in a box, huge amount of content for this huge narrative exploration
This
game.
is Gloomhaven-esque in size.
And of course, with a great solo implementation. And this should be available. This was a Kickstarter that has released to its backers. And I believe they are selling at Gen Con as well. I believe. Now,
Oh, you know what?
I'll find out.
I think they
If
are.
I'm wrong, you'll see it. But I believe they said it was for sale.
I believe they did say it was for sale. I can't remember the price, but I know that it's a juicy one.
Yeah.
It's not a cheap little game. It's It's over $100 for sure.
Oh, sure.
So my next one is Empire's End. This is a game. First of all, it's from John D. Clare. So there you go.
Yeah.
I want to check out anything John D. Clare is making. He's got a few things that he's going to be showing. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but he's got Ready Set Bet too. I want to check out.
He's on a roll too. He's got.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's always on a roll. But Empire's End is one that was being demoed at Origins.
yeah.
That I did not get a
Can't
chance
believe
to
you
demo.
missed it.
Did you demo it?
I watched the demo.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to demo it there and I didn't. So I'm going to try to get a demo of that in for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to get hands-on with it because what I watched, it looked like a ton of fun.
Yeah, it looks like an interesting game, and it has kind of like that no thanks mechanic to it, which is kind of unique and interesting.
Yeah, and the whole premise of starting with your full tableau and trying to prevent your empire from crumbling. Instead
Right.
of building an empire, you're trying to save your empire, which of course you can't do, right? So you're going to be losing cards and things over the course of the game. It looks very interesting.
Yeah, and then Jeremy's next one is one that I am not familiar with at all, but I think Ryan is.
Oh.
It was called Critical Foundations,
Yeah.
Season 1.
This almost made it onto my list.
This is
but
an
I knew-
RPG?
It is an RPG. It's kind of a guided RPG where you're supposed to be playing through chapters in small chunks.
Oh, this
So-
tracks for him then.
Right.
You
And
can solo it, I assume.
I think you can solo it.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure because it's a book. It's through a book, right? So we've seen this kind of thing before, like Legacy of Dragonhole. I don't know how close of an approximation that is, but it's going to kind of guide you through.
Oh, wait a
this
minute.
sci-fi
I do know this
experience.
one. Is
Yeah.
this from Hachette?
Yeah.
Oh, I do know this. We saw this. I forgot the name of it. These do look really cool.
They do, yeah.
I know all about this. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one too. It is kind of like this really cool, intensely narrative experience out of a book in a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
I love RPGs, so I'm excited for it too.
What's your next one?
All right, my next one is Vengeance, the Roll and Fight. This is from Mighty Boards and David Turtsey. This takes place in the Vengeance universe, which was a dice placement game, but this is a roll and write, and it looks really cool. They call it a roll and fight because you're effectively playing a button mashing fighting game here. every map is like a gang hideout, and you're rolling dice, and you're using those dice to do combos and to take out gang members throughout that compound, ultimately fighting against a boss. And so the idea that you're kind of rolling in real time, trying to save your results and like lock in your dice, and then you have to use those dice to do your combos, your fights, and try to take out everyone in that level.
Is it kind of like, so when you say fighting game, like Double Dragon?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's all from like the top down, like Hotline Miami almost, where like you're moving room to room, and you're just taking out guys as you go, trying to take out all these gang members. And this is they have season 1, I think, and season 2. Each offers a different set of boards to play through. It looks like a really cool idea.
Interesting. Well, my next one sounds very different than that. This is Starship Captains. This one is from CGE, and I don't know that they were demoing this at Origins, but they definitely
they will be at Gen Con.
They had the box, and they will be demoing it at Gen Con, and I think we have a chance to sign up to demo it. This has the look of Star Trek Lower Decks. It's kind of a cartoony-looking Starship Captains things. Definitely taking a page out of the universe of Star Trek, if you will. It looks like that sort of thing, obviously. But what intrigues me is it is a Euro-y game. And it's got that look and feel that I love, but you're going to be building tableaus and engine building.
Yeah, you're trying to effectively operate the starship.
Yeah. So I am really looking forward to getting my hands on that and trying it. It has that cute look. I know that's not for everyone. Some people don't like a cartoony look in their games.
Yeah.
I personally love a cartoony look, particularly if it's paired with, a good, interesting Euro sort of game.
All right, well, my next one is called Evergreen. This is from Horrible Guild, and this is kind of, I don't want to call it it's a building game. Not civilization, but you're like building out an ecosystem. And you're having like this planet, and you're able to like plant things into this planet. And your goal is to create a functioning ecosystem. But what's really interesting is that there's cards that you're drafting from that are going to tell you where you can build out on your planet. So to build in these different areas, you need to have specific cards. And the cards that are left kind of grow. And so as you draft them later, they become more powerful and let you kind of build out your ecosystem. And of course, this is, the ultimate puzzle, right? Like trying to create an ecosystem that functions, you need certain types of trees, and they need to be a certain height, and they need to be a certain distance apart so light can still get in. And there's going to be just a variety of scoring metrics that you're trying to complete as you're kind of building out this planet. And it seems super puzzly. Like a real brain burner.
Yeah, I saw some early images of this, and it has a really nice look too.
Yeah,
which is a very appealing looking game. And Horrible's,
they always really do really well production.
Solid track record.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. And if you've seen the artwork on the cards, which you'll see here in this video, the artwork is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. The next one from Jeremy was SKYMINES. SKYMINES, again, this is one, full disclosure. We happened to get a hold of a copy recently. We're in the midst of getting some content together for that. You'll probably see it after Gen Con. But if you're not familiar, SKYMINES is basically a re-implementation of Pfister's Mombasa.
Yes.
And this takes place sort of on a moon, if you will, but also it's a double-sided board. So there's a moon and then there's like an asteroid belt. So you can play either one, but I haven't looked into it too deeply, but the rules suggest that you can play one, then the other in
you can actually, there's like a mini campaign.
A little tiny sort of campaign sort of experience that lets you chain together a few sessions, if you will. But this game is a bit of a brain burner for me.
Sure.
But I liked it very much.
Well, Mombasa is a classic Euro for a reason, but the theme has always been either problematic or also just not interesting. This new theme of the mining the moon, making it a complete sci-fi game, complete fictional world, I think was a super smart move, and it makes the game look way more appealing. Plus, you get away from those boring beige Euro colors, and into this exciting sci-fi look.
And you love sci-fi.
I do. I do love sci-fi games.
So there's that too. My next one is Red Cathedral, The Contractors. Now, if you've watched the channel much at all, you know one of the things we say about Devere all the time is they put a lot of game in little boxes. And they did that with the original Red Cathedral in a massive way. If you haven't played Red Cathedral, it is a good, pretty medium weight Euro in a pretty small box with a lot of really cool, interesting things going on about how you use your dice, and you're all building sort of these different spires on this cathedral in Moscow, I believe. Contractors, from what I understand, promises to offer nearly as much as the original game
like doubles the game.
In an expansion for this, there's a whole other board that has like a map of Russia. You're going around there trying to find talent and contractors, using all of these things to sort of enhance the game. It comes with a lot of stuff that was in the original game, but just more of it, which basically kind of blows a lot of the variations of how you can approach things wide open. And then also, and I don't understand how this works at all, but there's another die. There's like this black die, I believe, which is new to the game, that changes up, the dice that you can use on your turn. It is, if you haven't played Red Cathedral, give it a chance. If you like medium weight Euros and you're sleeping on this, check it out. But also check out the Contractors, because I believe it is also for sale.
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be. So my next one I know is going to be on sale at Gen Con. This is Twilight Inscription. This is the roll and write based on Twilight Imperium. And if you thought Hadrian's Wall was a lot,
I heard this one was...
you should look at the board spread for Twilight Inscription. It's pretty crazy. And you have boards for the actual game, and then you have your unique faction. So a lot of what you love about Twilight Imperium is in this game. It just changes the way that you approach it. I mean, they turned it into a roll and write. It's absolutely crazy. We have not gotten our hands on it yet. We didn't get an early look or anything.
We might get a chance to see this.
I'm sure we'll get a chance at Gen Con. I plan on walking home with this game. Well, driving home probably. But I plan on leaving with this game because this is something I love, Twilight Imperium. And this allows you to play Twilight Imperium and get that same kind of asymmetric experience with the politics and the different factions.
That's the promise anyway.
That's the promise. In a much shorter amount of time with that cool roll and write feel. Super excited to see if they can do it. Let's just say that.
This might be my onboarding to Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, but you're going to have a very different expectation when you get there.
That's true. Jeremy's next one, and then I'll finish up, is called Peter Pan. Now, I did not know much about this game until I saw it on the Gen Con list on BGG, but I did look into it. This is from Matago, and Jeremy described it to me a little bit too. This is a deduction game. I believe it's cooperative because...
Oh, that's not what I expected.
Every player is kind of somewhat in control of both a pirate, but also a child that you're hiding from the pirates, right?
Oh.
And you know where your child is. You're responsible for hiding your child somewhere on the island. Then you're communicating in very subtle ways. You can't just say, oh, my child's here. But you have to be able to try to communicate by playing cards, I think, on other people's boards, such that they don't maneuver their pirate so that it captures your child.
Oh, you want to try to avoid it. Oh, that's very interesting. It seems tough.
I don't think I've misrepresented the game here, but that's what I was reading about it, and that sounds really interesting.
That does sound really interesting.
And it looks really cool, too. Again, this has kind of a cartoony, light look to it, but I love a deduction game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know you do. I do, too.
This cooperative nature, this could be an interesting game to try. Definitely one worth demoing. And I do think I think it's just a demo. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think so, too. It's pretty new.
And then my last one is yet another one that we only got a tiny glimpse of at Origins, but I believe it's going to be here at Gen Con. I think it might be for sale, but I'm not sure. And that's Turing Machine.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. I hope it's for sale.
Turing Machine is another deduction game, and of course, it's based on, is it Alan Turing?
Yeah, the actual Turing Machine.
And it's kind of like, yes, based on the Turing Machine, and it's like this crypto...
Yeah, I mean, it was used to code break during World War II.
Yeah, code breaker.
Kind of like the first computer, really. Like, it set the stage for modern computing.
It has some really cool components where you're trying to deduce things and look at these different cards that have these different rules, and then you're testing against these rules. And when you test against the rule, you lay these cards that have these holes in them, and you can kind of see through to see, oh, okay, so that's
such a
right.
cool mechanic.
And I think you're actually like doing multiple rules to figure out the whole thing. This game sounds like it could be one of those games that comes out, and I'm like, okay, well this is going to go into my top games. Potentially, because I love a good deduction game.
Yeah.
I know this is very different than something, say, like Cryptid, but I definitely want to check out Turing Machine from Hachette is how you pronounce them.
That's our 15 games that we're wanting to buy, play, demo, cover. So stay tuned to the channel all week as we bring a full week of Gen Con coverage. We're going to be bouncing in and doing some filming with some of these games, but also with some people.
Yep.
Also just showing off some things on our Discord, our Facebook. So make sure that you are liking us on Facebook to see all the cool photos. And if you want to meet up with us, play games with us, join our community, we're very active on our Discord. We're planning all of our MVM related stuff through the Discord. So we'd love to have you join us. You can see the link for that below. And hopefully we see you guys there.
Yeah, we definitely want to see you there. And Ryan will probably slap me after we record for saying this, but we have organized a bit of a meetup. I don't know how many people are coming, but join our Discord for details on that.
Absolutely.
So if you want to meet up and you're going to be at Gen Con, look into that because Friday night we're gonna try to do that.
a lot, some food, some games. We're gonna have a great time.
There
so
you go.
join the Discord to
I'm
find
not
out
in trouble.
more information. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching.
Yeah, make sure everyone has fun at the table until the next time we see you, and have fun at Gen Con.
Yeah, we will. I hope.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Congratulations, you got to the end of one of our videos. Now, if you want more practice, just click on the video over here. It's another video. You might not have seen it yet, so click on it. If you don't want to do that, at least click on the subscription button below. That always helps us. And if you want notifications, please ring that bell.